Who's too busy to create new customers? Everyone's being a busy operator doing dumb shit. The number one thing you should be focused on is making new customers and keeping your customers. I'm busy as hell. You wanna see my Monday next week? What you're about to see is 15-minute meetings from 8 a.m. literally until 8 p.m. I'm busy. But I'm never too busy to make content for the internet because I'm always trying to create new customers. Attention is the number one asset.
Gary, when we last spoke about a year and a half ago, we covered a range of topics from the importance of hiring the right people and treating them with empathy and respect, and also the importance of focusing on YouTube Shorts and some other digital marketing platforms. Since then, your VCR group opened its first restaurant, and it looks like a few others. Could you share how NFTs continue to influence your restaurant business? And I'd also like to hear more about what motivated you to enter the restaurant industry and how you've managed the growth and scalability of the ventures.
I'll answer the second one pretty easily. David Rodolitz and Josh Capon, Chef Josh Capon, the R and the C in the VCR are two gentlemen that I watched operate in New York City for 20 years. Both David was the operating partner of Empeon, which is a 3-star Mexican restaurant in Manhattan, which is a tough gig to get from the New York Times. And Josh Capon is the legendary personality chef who was behind Lore Fish Bar, one of the really strong executions, and a burger champion, by the way, back to your world, like Burger Bash, 8-time Burger Bash champion. So the reason I decided to get involved was relationship. Originally, I was just gonna invest. I got a little bit more involved, put my name a little bit more behind it. NFTs, as everybody in this world knows, in this office, and this conference, the brand of NFTs has taken a huge hit because there was a lot of greed in the short-term trading of it, and the crypto market is very, still maturing, but as a utility, it's remarkable. The way we used it for Flyfish Club, which officially opens this summer, is it is a membership. As you know, there's a lot of membership clubs now popping up in New York City, incredible executions by Zero Bond. ZZ's has opened up a great one in Hudson Yards. We think that New York is going through the Londification of the city. So you think of the London food market, a lot of private clubs. We're seeing that happen in New York, and so we wanted to enter that, but instead of just selling general memberships, which we do as well, when you have the NFT, it's actually your asset. Right, so when you sign up for a country club, you pay a membership, but it's not an asset, right? Whereas with the NFT, this is what's so amazing about NFTs. It is your membership, but if you want to sell it in the open market, and the utility we can add on and the extra features, so it's an incredible thing. I recommend this. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I recommend this crowd understanding the macro of NFTs, not the individual NFTs. NFTs are stuffed animals. And then there are beanie babies and fads within it, but in the macro, it's a profound thing. So that's my kind of universe in that. And obviously we opened up 3 restaurants in Fontainebleau in the new Las Vegas hotel. And look, I grew up in wine, liquor, beer, retail. So I grew up in a retail store, stocking shelves, ringing up customers. I'm obsessed with QSRs as a business model. VaynerMedia, my agency over the we're a 2,000 person global agency now. It's not just digital. We make more Super Bowl commercials than everybody in the world in the last 5 years. We've had the luxury of working with a lot of QSRs, both on the franchisee and the franchisor level. I couldn't be more excited about this industry. I'm at an airport right now about to fly out. Like, I wouldn't have said yes to this if I also didn't equally want to be part of this conversation, because I think this industry, like many industries that are trading with consumers, are going through a very substantial shift of where attention is, apps, delivery, last mile, DoorDash. Like, there's just so much going on. It's a great time to be in business if you're on offense, and it's an atrocious time to be in business if you're on defense. If you don't have the stomach or the grit or the want to learn new things and get at it, this is a really bad time because a lot's changing, and the operators in this room have more to do. But the good news is, if you put in the work, you'll get more results.
That makes sense. Thanks, Gary. When we last spoke, you emphasized YouTube Shorts, TikTok, other platforms. I mean, given the fast-paced changes in social media, do you still see these platforms as the primary channels for attracting customers today, or are there any new ones or strategies that you'd recommend?
No, actually, it's funny. I have a new book coming out called Day Trading Attention, which comes out next month. And I was in Miami 2 days ago at a conference called Possible, which has kind of become a hot new big conference for marketers in the Fortune 500. So Fortune 500 CMOs all over the place. And I gave the morning keynote, and my opening point really kind of caused a lot of ruffles in our industry, in our little Madison Avenue industry, which I said, organic social media, not even putting paid behind it, is now the starting point and the most important place for every brand to market on. And so definitely for this sector, knowing all the brands that are part of this portfolio, how they do day in and day out, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, Facebook, Twitter X, LinkedIn, Snapchat Spotlight. I can show you a direct correlation of people's growth or non-growth in marketing based on how serious they are in that craft. And then when you add paid on top of the posts that go well, it's remarkable. I'm not gonna waste time here and go through the text, but I wanna tell you what's on this phone. There's a text from my best friend, Brandon Warnicki. I've known him since I was 14. He runs my family wine store in Springfield, New Jersey. 2-3 Saturdays ago, he texted our wine library marketing thread, and he said, quote, "This is the craziest thing I've seen in 25 years." That was based on us running a different version, not organic, but paid, a paid social media post. We spent $5,000 for the week on the ads on a 5, 10, and 15 mile radius of the store. And as everybody in here knows, people are going to stores less. More Uber Eats and DoorDash, less foot traffic and drive-through. And from the 9 to 10 a.m. hour, brother, on a Saturday, which was the Saturday after Easter, which is our slowest Saturday of the entire first 2 quarters, because everybody loads up the weekend before, we had 150 customers come through from 9 to 9:15 in the morning on a weekend that was supposed to do 11 customers in the first hour.
Wow.
The reason I'm telling everyone that this story is, I know that if people know how to make videos, actually, you know what? I'm gonna show you, for instance, what I'm talking about. Here we go. It's be a little blurry, but stick with me, everyone.
A 95-point red wine, originally $50, now $9.99. This Saturday only at Wine Library. The 2018 Granic Estate Barossa Shiraz is the perfect spring or summer.
That ad, run on Facebook and Instagram only, on a 5, 10, and 15 mile radius of our store, is running right now this Saturday. It's going to perform 14 to 20x better than our direct mail campaigns that we've been running. It crushes what we do on Google search. It's unbelievable. I know every person in this room is grossly underestimating social media marketing. Social media marketing, as we sit here all today at this conference, is what television was in the 60s and 70s and 80s. It's the most important medium where all the attention is, but unlike television, you don't have to do vanilla. You can be very specific. If your store is where my dad's store is in Springfield, New Jersey, you can do an ad for the next town over, which is Short Hills, and the video can start with Short Hills, New Jersey. We've got a buy 2, get 2 burgers free this week. Like the stuff that is always performed on television for QSRs, right? Deal, everything that this group is spending, and every group is spending on above the line 2 for 2. We all know that right now in an inflationary environment, whoever's on deal is really, this is what I'm sure you're all talking about. But if you're gonna be on deal, you're already giving up margin. Can you imagine wasting money on marketing to get people aware about you giving up margin? So you can imagine, basically punchline, because I don't wanna go too long-winded, we're spending $5,000 a week on something that used to cost us $53,000 a week to get half the results on. Let me say it nice and slow. What used to cost my daddy $106,000 to do in sales and traffic is now costing $5,000 because We've gotten great at the first second of the video. You saw what happened there, right, brother? Like,
yeah.
it's a talent game now. The reason I wrote the new book and the reason I'm gonna go into detail here is anything can work and not work. Social media works when you know how to do it. It doesn't work when you don't know how to do it. This is just a game of haves and have-nots. Are you good at it or are you not good at it, right? And so I just really want this crew to be good at it, right? So again, I want everybody to look at this. The reason this works is you can be sitting right now and be like, Gary, you've tried social media, it doesn't work. Well, do you really know how to actually do it? Because if you don't do what I'm doing here.
95-point red wine, originally $50, now $9.99.
You have 1 second to get people's attention. So this is a game of, are you great at your craft? Social media outperforms everything if you're good at it. If you made a video about trying to sell a burger for $3.99 instead of $6.99, but it took you 8 seconds to get to the punchline on the video, you already lost.
Is that because everyone's just scrolling really fast through the different platforms, or?
Yes, it's because you have 1 second it's because people are making television commercials on social media. We used to sit around without remote controls and watch commercials in 1971. We don't do that anymore, brother.
I wasn't alive in 71.
No, you weren't.
Gary, let me ask you a different question. You know, in your recent, or maybe not so recent, conversations with industry giants like Danny Meyer and John Taffer on the Ask Gary Vee show, considering their success in building their restaurant empires and their expertise in turning around failing establishments, how do these discussions influence your own approach to entrepreneurship, if at all?
You know, I'll jump in on that one. The reason John and Danny are people I bring on my podcast is because they, like me, learned in the trenches, and we have a complete philosophical alignment, right? Danny especially, you know, John's fun because he's a hacker, right? He'll be like excited about like the red colored napkin, and I love that kind of crap.
Yeah.
Danny, so John's more tactical, which appeases me, and then Danny's more philosophical. You know, I don't even know how to think without thinking the customer's always right? Now, I have to innovate, I have to be ahead of the curve, but what I mean by that is, if you're not in service of the person that's buying stuff from you, like what are you doing? And if you're not in service of the people that work for you, that are in service of the people that buy from you, what are you doing? And I think that is something that I will go to the grave on, and something I learned in the trenches at a liquor store, at baseball card shows, at my lemonade stand even, and definitely in my agency. And so it's not that I learned from them. I want people in my audience to hear from different voices to reinforce the things I'm trying to get them to hear.
Got it. That's helpful. As an entrepreneur known for successfully managing multiple businesses, what would you say is the single most valuable piece of advice you could offer to fellow entrepreneurs striving to juggle multiple restaurants in our audience?
That your relationship with your direct reports, your regional managers, your COO, like no one can scale without people. And I've watched so many people, brother, try to scale where they treat their people like slaves instead of like family. They don't work for you. You want some good advice, everyone? They don't work for you. You want to have 437 locations? Wrap your head around you working for everyone that works in all 437 locations and in the corporate office. Brother, the biggest mistake everyone makes is they think they're the boss. When you're the CEO of something at scale, you're the ultimate employee. And it's a brain twist, you know? Like, think about it. If you hire Sally and she's the regional manager and you're expanding a QSR brand to 20 locations because now you've made it. Heck, 1 location, but I'm gonna go with 20 because I want some of the bigwigs to hear this. If she's the regional manager for the state of Florida or the Southeast, if you and her are not good, what do you think's gonna happen?
Disaster.
And many bosses don't like the emotional stuff. They don't have the emotional intelligence to build scale. Leadership requires a lot of yin and yang. You can't just rah and money everything through. You can't burst through every wall like the Kool-Aid man. Some of it's gotta be bedside manners. Some of it's gotta be therapy. Some of it's gotta be Big Brother. The emotional intelligence required to have your top 25 people be in a family business mindset, not a corporation mindset, is very hard. But it starts with you at the top. Do you give a crap about them more than you care about your wallet?
Yes, I do. I do care about them way more than I care about my wallet.
because the funny thing is, if you actually, no bullshit, do care about them, your wallet ends up becoming bigger. But so many people are short-term transactional and are in for a quick buck or want to flip the whole thing to a private equity firm or whatever they're up to, and they screw it up, brother. Everybody's just like short-term, now. I want more followers, I want more money, I want more fame, I want a blue check mark, I want a Rolls Royce, I want a Lamborghini, I want a yacht. Everyone's so materialistic and short-term, they're not putting down the family business values that are required for scale.
Makes sense. Gary, as a seasoned entrepreneur, you've undoubtedly encountered various challenges and successes. Reflecting on your journey, could you share what you consider to be the biggest mistake you've made in business and what valuable lessons you learned from it?
My kryptonite by a country mile is ironic given what we're doing right now. On stage in this environment, my greatest strength is candor. I shoot it uber straight. Gary V, number one in candor. Gary Vaynerchuk, day-to-day operating CEO of all his companies, bad at candor in his 20s, 30s, and into his early 40s. I've solved that dramatically in the last 5 years, but I'm still probably like a 5 out of 10, but I used to be a 1.5 out of 10. Candor came hard to me because if you notice how I was talking in the last question, I'm glad you followed it up with that question, because it will probably make sense to people. I over family business. I couldn't be the bearer of bad news. It was hard for me. I thought that if I told someone, hey Dustin, you're really blowing it on videos, it's not working, that as soon as, but like we can do this, we can work together, that when I left, Dustin would be like, oh crap, I'm getting fired, and that I was giving him fear. What I've learned at 48 is that's not true. If you position it properly and you really try to make sure they hear that you're trying to give them the value, in a lot of ways it does two things. One, a lot of people really like knowing where they stand, and two, if you, God forbid, have to fire that person, they're not gonna be completely caught off guard if you've been able to give them candor. I created a lot of entitlement and a lot of delusion in my organizations through my career. And anyone that's ever worked for me, I feel very confident that 90% of them really like me and have great things to say about me. But the 10% on earth that don't, it was only because of my inability to be candorous that led to sloppy firings. I mean, brother, early in my career, I could literally go up, let's say we worked together, right? And you were like a stock boy in my liquor store. I could literally go up to you on Friday and be like, bro, you're the fucking best. Like, I love you, like, have the best weekend. And then on Monday, be like, can you come in the office? And be like, hey, we gotta let you go. And you're like, what the hell? And I would be like, what do you don't know that you've been, like, I could be, like, because I wasn't so about the money, like, I tried to find every optimistic way to get you there, and then there would eventually be wit's end. So through my journey, the biggest failure was I didn't get to candor, and I call it kind candor. I don't call it candor, I don't call it radical candor, all those things are great, but for me, I call it kind candor. If you're gonna deliver micro bad news, make sure you give them the macro picture that you're actually doing it because you want them to win, not because you're getting rid of them. If you can, to me, eliminating fear is my great honor, both as Gary Vee and as Gary Vaynerchuk. When I had that day of reckoning with myself of, oh my God, my lack of candor is creating fear because people don't know where they stand. That was a devastating day in my career, and I'm glad I'm on the other side of it, but I still have more work to do.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. It's not necessarily what you say, it's how you say it to people at times. And
that, by the way, not at times. Let everyone hear this loud and clear. How someone feels after they speak to you is the punchline, not what you said.
Gary, what do you do for fun?
This. And the reason I said this is, here are my favorite fun things in the world. Number one, watching the New York Jets, which tells you a lot about how much I look at fun. Number two, going garage sailing. literally going to garage sales and finding something for $4 on a table that I know is $31 on eBay is a greater high for me than getting a $25 million gig at VaynerMedia. Those are my fun things. My ultimate fun is family and friends. I'm obsessed with sitting around a dinner table, a breakfast table, and just being with my family and friends and shooting the shit. Like old school, like you know when you look at Europe and like some people just, that's all they do, they don't really work and they just hang out with their family for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I love it, I'm about it. And then finally, what is absolutely true is that, man, I got very lucky. It's been the theme of my day today. I said something earlier today that I'd never said exactly that way before, and now this is gonna be the third time I'm saying it today. My work is my joy. This is my hobby. I like doing what you and I are doing right now. I would rather be doing this right now than playing a round of golf, than sailing, than cooking, than watching a movie, than playing a video game. This, me and you right now. I love it. I enjoy it to no end. And I think that's the ultimate work-life balance. Work-life balance to me is happiness on all equations. When I hear my friends or acquaintances or people on social media say things like, I work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, I have great work-life balance. And you ask them, do you like your job? No, I don't like it at all. I'm like, you don't have work-life balance. You have 40 hours a week, every week, that you hate. That's not balance, that's tolerance.
Hey, what do you say, you have children, you know, what advice can you give our audience for how they can guide their children through growing up with all those social media and digital platforms in today's environment?
By being an actual parent. If you don't like your kids being on TikTok, delete it off the phone. That is the easy answer, but it's hard because there's peer pressure and parents don't like being unpopular in our generation. I don't know about your parents, brother, but I can promise you, your parents' parents, they didn't care what your parents thought of them. They parented. I think the other way to address it is the real way, self-esteem. Any child is capable to now navigate life, let alone social media, if they have actual self-esteem. If they're insecure, they will be vulnerable. Let me tell you what's harder than social media in 2024. High school in New Jersey in the 90s. If you didn't have self-esteem, you got into drinking, you got into fighting, you got into stealing. This is a self-esteem insecurity framework. People are demonizing social media. That's fine. Like I tell people all the time, social media is this generation's alcohol. Do you know, brother, we banned alcohol in America during Prohibition in the 30s and 40s. Like, you could, you know, are we banning TikTok? Ban them all. It's not gonna change the problem here. We are over-coddling our children. You want your kids to be capable? Stop giving them money after they're 18. Let them stand on their own 2 feet. You want your kids to be capable? Do not allow your local sports organizations to give out 8th place trophies. They're straight bullshit. It seems like that landed.
Gary, I'll ask you a different question. You know, we've talked about the importance of candor and hiring great people. You know, given the recent challenges in recruiting within the restaurant industry, can you share insights on attracting the right talent?
Man, actually, brother, you're asking a really important question. I want everybody to hear this nice and slow. We do have a problem, and here's the problem. A lot of these kids have better alternatives. A lot of the kids that we used to hire for, you know, when I was growing up, $5.05 an hour was New Jersey's minimum wage. You know, the kids that we used to hire for minimum wage that were high quality, high impact minimum wage workers are now making too much money on TikTok, on eBay, on Amazon. You know, like they have better options. We're in a little bit of a pickle in that the answer to this is we're gonna have to find ways to change our economics because I think it's gonna require us to pay more until the robots get here. And I mean that, by the way. You know this. The QSR industry, good news, this is only a short-term problem for the next 3 to 7 to 10 years. Because literally, the majority of the brands in this building in 10 years, the register and the fulfillment of the food will be done by robots.
Do you think that it will still be done in high-end restaurants?
No. I think that's a different game. And that gets into, look, if it costs us more money for high-end restaurant waiters and bartenders in front of house, you know what's gonna happen. Consumers are gonna pay more. You only have two options. If your cost of goods are up, you're gonna have to increase your prices. And everybody wants everything to be, everybody has great feelings about like, everyone should be paid $1 million. Cool, then you're gonna have to pay more. If everyone gets paid $1 million, hamburgers are gonna be $7,000.
Makes sense.
Yeah, the reason I just want to click on this because I know it's important to everyone in this room. Look, I do think that a lot of good talent has better options now. Every kid knows that they can make $80K a year, $50K a year just by hacking around on social media. And so we're gonna have to up the game and we're gonna have to get bigger margins on our, let's say a high-end restaurant, like more margin on wine, right? That steak's gonna cost a little bit more. Like I think we're gonna have to pump it because you're gonna have to pay a little bit more for better talent because they have too many options and that's not gonna change.
Yeah. Gary, I'm gonna do something that's totally off script for everybody in the audience right now, but I wanna open up some Q&A to the group. I know last go around, I was just asking you question after question, and I'd really like to see if any of the owner operators have questions for Gary, and if so, maybe stand up and
I would love to do Q&A.
You like to do this stuff anyway.
Yeah, I love it. This is my preference. Because I love the very nuanced, detailed questions because a lot of this stuff can be very macro strategy, but the micro nuances of day-to-day business or like, how do you get TikTok to do this? Or how do we get drive-through faster? Or how do we get more margin in wine? Or whatever it might be. I love being an operator and I love to share those thoughts.
Gary, we love you. I was going to say something else, but it's a large audience here. You're great. But talk. Can you give us, you said how you do the social media videos. You catch them in the first second, 2 seconds, right? You put a lot of effort into learning how to do that. As busy operators in the room, what advice would you give? I think we all know that people are looking at social media. We operate in airports. I know you have an idea that came in your head. How do you get somebody, you're in the airport now, to do what you want them to do in terms of ordering food quickly, through an online ordering platform? Go, like tell me, what would that video look like?
Brother, I think it's storytelling and content. As someone who goes to, I don't know exactly what you do and you're more than welcome to jump back in and give me, but as someone who goes to many airport bars and like orders on the iPad and has food delivered to me, like, all you need to do is make more people aware of it. The way you make people more aware of it is making videos, pictures on the internet, predominantly social media, to make people aware of it. So what Brandon was doing in that video that I showed you outside of Wine Library, you've got to make a compelling video for social to say, like the videos be like, do you travel a lot in airports? Boom, next scene, like, don't eat crappy things like at the convenience store, not to razz on Hudson News, because I love those people. Don't pick up something at Hudson News, sit down for 15 minutes and do it with, like, show them in the place that they live in. And when I hear busy operators, who's too busy to create new customers? Everyone's being a busy operator doing dumb shit. Like, the number one thing you should be focused on is making new customers and keeping your customers. I get so frustrated, brother. Thank you for the love. Like, I think about this, I'm busy as hell. You wanna see my Monday next week? I'll show it to you. Here's my Monday next week, Monday the 22nd. What you're about to see is 15-minute meetings from 8 a.m. literally until 8 p.m. I'm busy. But I'm never too busy to make content for the internet because I'm always trying to create new customers.
Gary, how do you juggle running all these different ventures?
People, lots of good people, that I put in touch, like I said earlier about that woman who runs my like I have great, Lisa Buckley is great. She runs the Los Angeles VaynerMedia office. Andy K is great. He runs VaynerMedia. My brother's great. He runs our sports agency. Eric Wattenberg is great. He runs my TV production company, right? Daisy's great. She runs EMEA. Amy Bradshaw's great. She runs Australia. Tim Lindy's great. He runs APAC, right? Marcus Krasastik, who's been with me for 15 years, 7 as my chief of staff. He's great. He now runs the Sasha Group, our conglomerate there. Like people. And then 3 full-time admins who make sure that I have 15-minute meetings, not 1-hour meetings. Every person here that says they're busy is taking multiple 1-hour meetings every day, every week that are really 27-minute meetings. I don't want to have meetings where we spend 10 minutes everyone introducing themselves, or the first fucking 13 minutes is everyone eating a bagel.
It's true. I hate.
Hey, so Gary, you talked about candor, how you grew your candor from 1.5 to like a 5 now, right? How did you navigate that path? And like what obstacles did you have to go to? And what are you working on now to increase that candor?
It's all the same answer, brother. Honestly, it's like, how do you get more muscles without steroids? You go into the gym and you just do the thing, right? Like, I just hit the low point of my career where I realized, if I'm gonna achieve everything I want for the next 40 years, this is a gaping hole. This is my kryptonite. So how did I navigate it? I'm telling you, brother, I fight every day to be better at candor. And there's meetings I have where I have to be candorous and I come in and I fucking blow it. And I literally, that's why I'm a 5. And I walk out and I'm like, you know, like I get frustrated. I'm like, why can't, you know, it comes from such a place of love for others, but I'm doing that far less now, my man. And I just keep pushing and I keep talking and I keep talking to myself and I keep pushing and I keep doing things like this. I'm putting it out in the open. Right, the reason it got better in my company immediately, like I went from 1.5 to 3, was I had a meeting with all my leaders and just went naked on them. I was like, team, this is a problem. I am not candorous enough with all of you, and immediately you could feel a shift. And for 3 or 4 of them, I remember vividly it being the biggest sigh of relief, which was affirmation of like, okay. But it's, man, I'm telling you, the comp I would use is someone, I've worked out for the last 10 years and started taking care of myself. There's not a day that goes by to this morning, I woke up in Austin, Texas, and my trainer was ready to go, and I desperately wanted to I was like, I have a call, like I tried to get out of it, like, but I fight it, and that's what I do with candor, man. I keep pushing myself in a position, I keep putting it, I keep having the conversations that I don't want to have, and you can imagine it's like swimming or working out or cooking, you just get better every time, right? You just get better every time, and I'm on my way.
Gary, during the last summit, you talked about your mom, how much you loved your mom and how she sewed that little jersey for you.
Yeah.
The little Jets jersey, that really used to come. How do you teach that humbleness to your kids?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Real quick, I want everyone to see this video. If you go to my Instagram, Gary VEE, it's the second pinned one, it's this green one. Please everybody, when you get a chance, please watch this video because I want my mom to get flowers from all 8 billion people. Look, I think with the kids, you just do the best you can. I think, you know, you can't teach the grit or the environment that I grew up in, right? Like, you know, humbleness is around politeness and lack of ego, and you can play with that. If you're asking the real question I think you're asking is, you can't fake environment. What you can do is you could create consequences for bad behavior. I think you could create consequences when they act, but look, for a lot of us that came from less and created more and now have children, we just want to make them not entitled. I'll give you another secret. The number one way to get a kid really going is to take them off the payroll. The sooner you stop paying for your kid, the sooner you will achieve what you're looking for from a lot of parents here. I'm talking 14, 17, 16, 15, 18. There's parents in the audience right now that are frustrated with their kids who are 28 and they're still paying for their apartment or their Equinox or their Uber. Get them off the fucking payroll.
Got time for one more question, Gary, and then we'll wrap up.
How you doing? My name is Desmond with Smoky Bones. My question would be is, sometimes when you see a Instagram ad, the perception of value versus when you arrive to that location can sometimes be different. So how would you say for us as operators to manage expectations, build that rapport with that customer, and kind of build...
What was your name, my brother?
Desmond.
Desmond, Desmond, have you ever seen a television commercial that shows food from a restaurant?
Yes, sir.
You think social media is bad? That shit's insanity. So I think, like, have you ever seen what a Whopper looks like on a television commercial? Versus what you get? I think this has been a long-standing issue with the QSR and restaurant industry, that they do these photo shoots and productions, and they, you think you're eating like a Kobe beef burger with like foie gras and caviar in it when you're watching a fast food restaurant, and then you get there and it's like smush, whatever. This has always been a disconnect. I think most consumers know that. Look, I think cleanliness, speed, like you all know this, you're all running this. Like, I wouldn't fake the funk. I would do far less production value, and I would show, like when we do the wine, I didn't show you all the Wine Library ads. Wine Library is now a 25-year-old building. It's not the same building it doesn't look the same way that when me and my dad built that. There's cracks in the tile, there's some stuff, and we show it, we just film it and we show it. We don't put on an act or have a little studio that's a fake Wine Library, and I think consumers appreciate that.
Thanks, Gary. If there's any parting message you could give us, please go ahead and...
I will. Listen, I have a new book coming out. Let me pull it up on Amazon. You have a copy?
It's called Day Trading, right?
Day Trading Attention. Look, you don't even need to buy it. There's a website called Pirate Bay. You can pirate the book. Don't even buy it. But I'm telling you, I need you to understand what this is. Every single business in here, if they understand how to do social media creative day in and day out and social media ad spend, it's not a magic potion. I can't just say do social media, because if you don't do it well, it's not gonna work. But please, as operators and owners, the time is now. It will outperform everything. You will save a fortune on direct mail. Can you imagine if you can create more demand? It's gonna take away the leverage from the delivery services that you know are an issue for a lot of you. Because it's good now, but then they have all the data, and now what? You need to get good at this yourself. If you do not create the customers, you will die. These delivery services have become a toll booth, and you're gonna pay a bigger and bigger toll. Brother, think about how many people here are doing meaningful business. It's gonna only grow on delivery. What do you think is gonna happen when they decide to charge you more to deliver? What are you gonna say? You're gonna say, thank you very much. You need to get good at demand creation and brand building for yourself, or you will die. Marketing on social media is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't wanna hear about billboards. I don't wanna hear about direct mail. I don't wanna hear about running ads inside the DoorDashes and Uber. Get your shit together and get great at social media advertising. It is this generation's Mad Men, Don Draper. It is the time. You've been lollygagging for 15 years. You saw me talking about this shit when my hair was black. It's now gray. Let's get on this shit. The time is now. Stop fucking around.